Let me start with something most men do not want to hear, but need to. Your absence does not automatically make a woman miss you. Sometimes it makes her see you clearly for the first time. I know that goes against a lot of advice you hear online. You are told that pulling away creates desire, that disappearing makes women chase, that silence is power. And yes, sometimes space can increase attraction. But most of the time, your absence does something deeper and more dangerous. It forces a woman to feel how life feels without you in it. And once she feels that, she decides whether you were adding value or just taking up space. When you are gone, a woman does not sit around staring at her phone the way men imagine. She does not freeze in time. She observes her emotions. She pays attention to her peace. She notices how light or heavy her days feel without your presence. This is where men often get confused. You think absence creates mystery. For women, absence creates clarity. I am not here to shame you. I am here to tell you the truth from a woman's side. The truth about what happens emotionally, mentally, and even physically when you are not around. The truth about why some men come back to women who are warmer, softer, and more attracted to them, while others come back to emotional distance or silence. Women do not miss potential. We miss how you made us feel consistently. We miss safety, direction, presence, and emotional leadership. If those things were not there, your absence becomes relief, not longing. This conversation is not about manipulation. It is about understanding. If you want stronger connections with women, you have to understand what actually goes on in her mind when you step back, pull away, or disappear. I am talking to you as a woman who understands women, not theory, not fantasy, real emotional behavior. So if you have ever wondered what a woman truly feels during your absence, not what you hope she feels, but what actually happens inside her, this is for you. 1. When you leave, her body feels it. Before her heart, let me tell you something men rarely understand. When you disappear, a woman doesn't immediately feel emotions. Her body reacts first. Before she misses you, before she gets angry, before she starts thinking, her nervous system notices the absence. There's a shift. The rhythm changes. Her days feel different, and she might not even know why at first. At the beginning, there's awareness. She notices you're not there. The messages stop. The check-ins disappear. There's a moment of tension, not desperation, just alertness. Her body is asking, something changed. Is this safe or not? Then the real test starts. Her body begins to settle into life without you, and this is where your absence either works for you or completely against you. If being with you required emotional effort, guessing, overthinking, or constantly adjusting herself to your mood, her body relaxes when you're gone. She may feel lighter without realizing it. Her breathing feels easier, her sleep improves, her mind quiets down. That feeling is dangerous for you because once a woman feels peace without you, she subconsciously connects your absence with relief. Not hatred, not anger. Relief. But if being with you felt grounding, if your presence brought calm, reassurance, and emotional direction, your absence feels unsettling in a different way. Her body looks for your energy. Her nervous system misses the stability you brought. She feels slightly off balance, like something important is missing. I've experienced this myself. A man I was connected to pulled away. No explanation, just distance. At first, I noticed the silence. I checked my phone without thinking. Then days passed, and something surprised me. I felt calmer. My mood improved. I laughed more easily. That's when it hit me. His presence had been costing me energy, and once a woman realizes that, attraction doesn't grow. It dissolves. Men think absence creates longing automatically. It doesn't. It reveals emotional impact. Women are deeply connected to how our bodies feel around someone. Calm or tense, safe or uneasy, seen or ignored. Your absence forces that truth to the surface. If your presence added value, your absence feels heavy. If your presence drained her, your absence feels like freedom. This is why disappearing is a gamble. You're not creating mystery. You're triggering an emotional audit, and her body always tells the truth before her heart does. 2. Silence does not always mean desire. Here's something I want men to really understand. When you go silent, a woman doesn't automatically feel pulled toward you. Most of the time, she starts observing you. Silence gives her space, and space is not always romantic. Space is where clarity lives. At first, she notices the absence. Not in a dramatic way, just mentally. You're quieter, less present. Something is different. Then her mind starts asking questions, not emotional ones, practical ones. Is this intentional? Is this avoidance? Is this how he handles discomfort? Women pay close attention to patterns. So when silence breaks a pattern, it sends a message. And that message is rarely mystery. It's information. If you were emotionally consistent before, silence might feel calm. She may assume you're grounded, busy, or focused. There's no panic because the foundation already exists. But if your presence was already inconsistent, silence confirms instability. It doesn't create attraction. It creates emotional distance. This is where men misunderstand female psychology. You think you're making her wonder about you. What she's actually doing is evaluating you. She's replaying past conversations. She's remembering how you responded when she opened up, how you handled conflict, how you showed up emotionally. Silence removes distraction. Without your voice, your energy, or your reassurance, she sees the relationship clearly. If she often felt confused while talking to you, silence gives her peace. If she felt emotionally held by you, silence feels uncomfortable. Women don't crave absence. We crave emotional certainty. Silence without emotional leadership feels like being dropped, not desired. And women protect themselves fast when they sense emotional uncertainty. This is why some men think a woman lost interest suddenly. She didn't. She gained clarity. Women don't chase emotional confusion. We step back from it. 3. Absence reveals your emotional value. When you're gone, something very uncomfortable happens for a woman. The fantasy fades. When you're present, a woman can soften the truth. She can focus on potential. She can tell herself stories about who you might become or where things might go. Presence keeps hope alive. Absence removes hope and replaces it with reality. Without you there, she stops filling in the gaps. She stops explaining your behavior for you. She stops romanticizing what isn't consistent, and this is where your emotional value is exposed. Women don't measure men by words. We measure by how we feel over time. When you're absent, she finally has the emotional space to review that feeling without interference. She asks herself questions quietly. Did I feel safe with him? Did I feel seen? Did I feel calm or tense? Did I feel like I had to overthink? These questions don't come from bitterness. They come from self-respect. Men often assume women are emotional in a chaotic way. The truth is, women are emotionally intelligent evaluators. We track emotional patterns instinctively. If your presence felt grounding, your absence feels noticeable. There's a sense of loss, not panic, just a steady awareness that something good is missing. But if your presence required emotional labor, your absence feels like relief. She may still care about you as a person, but the emotional attachment weakens quickly. This is why some men are shocked when they return and feel distance. They thought absence would reset attraction. Instead, it revealed the emotional imbalance that was already there. Women don't detach out of cruelty. We detach when emotional clarity arrives. Absence forces a woman to stop reacting and start observing. And observation kills illusion. Your emotional value isn't tested when you're there. It's tested when you're gone. And once a woman sees that clearly, her heart follows the conclusion her mind already made. 4. Why women test their peace without you. Here's a truth men rarely hear directly from a woman. When you're gone, she's not asking herself if she wants you. She's asking herself how she feels without you. Women are wired to protect emotional balance. Peace is not a luxury for us. It's a requirement. So when your presence is removed, she pays attention to what replaces it. Does her life feel calmer? Does her mood stabilize? Does her anxiety drop? Or does she feel unsettled, distracted, slightly off? This isn't conscious at first. It's emotional awareness. Her body and mind are checking in with each other. Men often think attraction is about excitement. For women, attraction is about emotional regulation. A man who brings calm, clarity, and emotional direction becomes deeply attractive over time. 5. The moment she stops checking her phone. There's a very quiet moment that changes everything for a woman, and most men never realize when it happens. At first, when you're gone, she still checks her phone. Not obsessively, not desperately, just instinctively. Habit. Your name used to be part of her routine, so she glances. She wonders. She notices the silence, but then one day something shifts. She gets busy. She laughs with someone. She finishes her day and realizes she never thought about you. No emotional pull. No curiosity. No tension in her chest. That moment hits her later, usually at night when she recognizes it. And when she does, her feelings don't rush back. They soften. This is where men get confused. They think women move on because of anger or betrayal. That's not usually what disconnects us. Emotional detachment happens when the emotional bond stops being stimulated. Women don't need closure to detach. We need clarity. When your absence no longer creates emotional reaction, it means the emotional attachment has already loosened. She's not forcing herself to move on. Her nervous system has adjusted. I've felt this myself. A man who once occupied my thoughts completely slowly faded into the background. Not because I hated him, not because I replaced him, but because my life felt stable without his emotional presence. And once a woman experiences that emotional neutrality, attraction rarely reignites. Men often think desire lives in drama. For women, desire lives in emotional resonance. When that resonance fades, so does attachment. The moment she stops checking her phone isn't about strength or pride. It's about emotional independence returning. And once a woman realizes she's okay without you, she becomes very careful about letting you back in. That moment is the turning point. Before it, absence might create longing. After it, absence creates indifference, and indifference is almost impossible to reverse. 6. What makes a woman actually miss a man? Let me be very clear here, because this is where a lot of men get misled. Women do not miss men because they disappeared. We miss men because of how they showed up when they were present. Absence only works if presence was emotionally valuable. When a woman misses a man, it's not chaotic or dramatic. It's quiet and steady. It's the feeling of emotional security being removed. It's noticing that her days feel less anchored without him. What creates that feeling is consistency, not constant texting, not over-availability. Emotional consistency, a man who communicated clearly, a man who followed through, a man who didn't leave her guessing about where she stood, a man who was emotionally grounded even when things weren't perfect. Women miss emotional leadership. That doesn't mean control, it means direction. It means knowing how to move things forward without pressure, knowing how to handle emotional moments without shutting down or deflecting. We miss men who made us feel safe to relax, safe to be feminine, safe to stop overthinking. If your presence required her to be alert, guarded, or emotionally vigilant, she will not miss that feeling, even if she was attracted to you. Women don't miss potential. We miss stability. This is why some men come back after absence and feel warmth, while others feel coldness. The difference is emotional memory. If she remembers you as a source of calm, your absence creates a gap she feels. If she remembers you as a source of uncertainty, your absence feels like relief. Men often ask how to be missed. The answer isn't distance, it's depth. Depth in how you listen, depth in how you respond, depth in how you show emotional reliability. Absence doesn't create desire. Emotional value does. If you want to be missed, become a man whose presence leaves a positive emotional imprint. 7. The hard truth men avoid about absence. Now let me give you the part most men don't like hearing, but need to hear if you actually want to grow. A lot of men use absence as an escape, not strategy. Escape. They disappear when things get emotionally uncomfortable. They pull back instead of communicating. They create distance instead of providing direction. And then they tell themselves they're being strong, mysterious, or high value. From a woman's perspective, that's not strength. That's emotional avoidance. Women can feel the difference immediately. A man who takes space because he's grounded feels calm even in absence. His energy doesn't disappear. It stays steady. There's no confusion, no emotional drop-off. But a man who disappears because he lacks emotional depth creates instability. His absence feels abrupt, unclear, and unresolved. That doesn't build attraction. It triggers a woman's self-protection. Here's the part men avoid. If a woman becomes distant during your absence, it's rarely because she lost attraction overnight. It's because she realized she was carrying too much emotional weight when you were present. Women are willing to invest emotionally, but only when it feels mutual. When absence exposes imbalance, we adjust fast. Another hard truth. Women don't emotionally detach when you leave. We emotionally detach when we understand you. Absence accelerates understanding. If you relied on her emotions to feel wanted, absence reveals neediness. If you relied on her patience to excuse inconsistency, absence removes that cushion. If you relied on chemistry instead of emotional reliability, absence exposes the weakness. This is why some men feel blindsided. They thought everything was fine. She was smiling. She was affectionate. She seemed invested. But women don't always leave when we're unhappy. We leave when clarity arrives, and clarity usually arrives in silence. Here's where growth begins. Stop asking whether absence works. Start asking whether your presence was emotionally valuable. Were you consistent? Were you emotionally available? Did you communicate with intention? Did you make her feel chosen, not optional? Women don't need men to be perfect. We need men to be present with purpose. If you want a woman to miss you when you're gone, become someone whose presence improves her emotional life. Because here's the final truth. A woman doesn't miss a man because he's rare. She misses him because life felt better with him in it. If you can understand that, you don't need games. You don't need silence. You don't need disappearing acts. You become unforgettable simply by being emotionally solid. That's the level women respond to. Here's the honest truth, straight from a woman to a man, no sugarcoating. If your absence makes a woman feel calmer, clearer, and more at peace, then losing you wasn't a loss for her. It was a correction. That doesn't make you a bad man, but it does mean there's work to do. Women don't measure men by how long they stay on our minds when they leave. We measure men by how we feel when they're gone, relief or loss, calm or emptiness, clarity or confusion. Your absence is not a test of her emotions. It's a reflection of your emotional impact. If you want to be missed, don't disappear to provoke emotion. Show up in a way that creates emotional safety. Lead with consistency. Speak with clarity. Be emotionally steady even when things aren't perfect. Women fall deeper into connection when they feel relaxed, secure, and seen. That's not weakness. That's how trust forms. If this message hit you, sit with it. Reflect honestly. Ask yourself whether your presence adds calm or creates tension. That answer matters more than any tactic. I want to hear from you. Have you noticed women pulling closer or pulling away during your absence? What do you think your absence revealed about you? Drop your experience in the comments. I read them. I respond. And I respect men who are willing to grow instead of play games. Real strength isn't disappearing. It's being someone worth missing.